It's Oklahoma Archery. Everything archery based out of Oklahoma for Oklahomans. Let's get it started. Hello, everybody. I'm David Bosca.
And I'm Neil Cooley.
And our guest today is?
And got one.
Oh, well, I guess that's a good one right there. It's just us talking today, but we got some cool topics, I think so.
We've been shooting a lot of indoor. We've been tinkering. We've been tuning and testing. I told Dave this is the dog days of winter. So if you're tired of indoor, you're doing it right.
Whoa, no. If you're tired of indoor, you're not an indoor shooter. That's the way I want to roll with it.
It's a long winter season, and if you haven't peaked yet or you haven't figured out your shot yet, don't worry. Neither have I. We're still putting the bow together. I was talking to one of our listeners the other day. He's like, "You mentioned messing with your draw length like 3 episodes back, and you're still doing it today, you know?" And I was like, "Well, I've almost got it dialed in. Changing different holding weights on the bow and different peep sight heights and stuff like that. It seems like I've been kind of chasing my tail for the better part of 2 or 3 weeks. So we're finally, hopefully, coming out on the other end of it, figuring out what works for me, what works for the bow. So
yeah, I'm feeling better about it too. You know, after my shoulder issues and finally getting some strength back in it, I'm feeling like it's trying to. I've got 2 weeks before Lancaster hits, and I'm right. I'm probably a week behind of where I would like to have been. Like right now is where I'd be wanting to shoot 17, 18 very solid ends, and then in the next week tap out close to 20 to I if I'm not mistaken, a couple years ago, I think I was tapping out at about 24, 25 very solid ends well before Lancaster, so that when we get up there for that 20 end deal, you feel solid all the way through. So I'm going to be right at 20 when that comes, and I'm just going to have to live with it. And hopefully the slow shooting process up there does help. But I mean, what I have found is it don't matter what kind of shape you're in a tournament, and I think it's got to do with the nerves and the way you release adrenaline and stuff. Seems like I'm always really tired, even after a 10 end shoot. Even though I feel like I'm set up for better than that, but do you feel the same way?
Yeah, we had the shoot at Wagner over the weekend on the Blueface and shot first 2 ends of practice, 5 X's both times. Shot the first end for score, only caught 3 of them. And I say caught 3 of them, not inside out kind of X's. So yeah, when you get nerved up, the bow reacts differently. So it's important this time of year to get on the line as many times as you can to just see how it's going to react. Because I'm the worst at it. I'll take a clean game to the last 1 or 2 arrows and all of a sudden have a low right miss, which is usually not pulling through, indicative of getting a little weak on the draw hand. So yeah, it makes a big difference on how tired you are, how strong you are, and how you can execute, because that changes under pressure.
Yeah.
Some people say it's nerves. Steve Wingo says it's excitement. It's like you're not nervous, you're excited because you like shooting archery. You like shooting the middle of archery. It's like, yeah, I like shooting archery, and I like it when I go in the middle. I'm excited for that. And then you get up there and you're just trying to get it to go off. You know, it's like it's
I like that scenario. You're excited about it. Yeah, I do like that.
I mean, it makes sense. You want to do good. You know, you want the other guy to do good. And we just got done watching the Rushmore Rumble shoot-offs yesterday, and that was the craziest 23 ends I've ever seen. 60 X's in a row on a Vegas face, just going and going and going. So
that was amazing to watch. Yeah, I was texting during it because we were all both up there shooting at the shop. And so I didn't get to see it live. So when I got home, I then sat down and then watched it. And Dan had texted me and he asked me, have I got to watch it? And I said, I'm just now, I don't know if I was just logging in or someone had, that's what it was. someone had just fell out, and that's where I was at in the shoot off. And he said, "All right, I'll let you finish it." Oh, good. I just knew someone was going to text me and say, "Man, can you believe so and so?" And there I was going to be right, still trying to finish it.
Yeah. We got a couple group texts with like Chris Sanders and Chris Simmons and Josh Jacobson and Dustin, all them. They'll be like, "Don't tell me who won. I'm watching it now."
Yeah,
Somebody will,
exactly.
yeah, it's like spoiling the end of a movie for these people. So you gotta definitely gotta kind of watch out who your audience is. But that was crazy. I mean, I'm not the person to ask about shooting under pressure. Never been under pressure. Never had a good clean round going, and if I ever did, it wasn't pretty at the end. It's like it's your hands go numb. You can feel your heartbeat in your feet, and your whole bow's shaking top to bottom. So that's what happens to me.
I've been there, and I have seriously stood there and felt my knees shaking back and forth. It's crazy. It's weird, but I know this sounds nuts, but it seems like after you drop one, you're like, okay, good. Now let's just shoot, and it's all over with. Yeah.
Yep. I think I dropped one at Wagner in like the fourth or the fifth end and didn't miss another one till the last arrow. And it was like, tell yourself, just do it the same. And then you can't pull it off. It's like, what a long 2.5 hour drive home by yourself.
The simplest word said, but something you have to believe in is trust your process, know it like the back of your hand and just keep doing it. That's where I'm at now. Is I'm really confident in the way I'm executing my shots right now. Shot really good yesterday, and there's one thing I want to tinker with, but I keep telling myself, well, I'm locked down till after Lancaster. After that, then I got time to tinker. But right now, I'm locked down. I'm done.
Well, Dave, you've kind of got all of us tinkering with the recent grip additions to the whole setup. So. Yeah. To catch everybody up that doesn't shoot indoor with us enough, Dave had a 4-degree grip, and there's the PSE in the back of the riser just goes into a screw hole. Well, he flipped it upside down and ran it as a negative. So instead of building the back of your grip up, it would build the top up, and it basically made sure his grip is like straight as a broom handle. And I kind of liked it. Sly was trying one of them on his bow. We ordered some negative degree 3D printed grips from a guy named Adam George out of George's Gizmos. He's just got a Facebook page. Message him. He's real easy to deal with. He makes aftermarket grips for a lot of bows with and without a shelf and various either a degree or a negative degree. So you can even take a little draw length out of your bow and that kind of thing. So we've all been, wrapping and unwrapping grip tape and changing the angles. They just clip in and clip out. So it's kind of cool. They work on all the Dartons. He offers them for other bow models as well. Usually it just clips around your riser like this, and he gives you a little tool to take it off with. So that's been an interesting couple of weeks when you start changing how your hand fits in that bow just right, because there's a lot of torque. It'll change your paper tear. Man, we went down the rabbit hole trying to paper tune a couple of arrows this last couple of weeks. My buddy Carson would come over and he would grips his bow like this and shot a perfect bullet hole, and he did it like this and it shoots a big right tear. And a lot goes into it. That's why people don't realize you walk into a shop and you want them to paper tune your bow. Well, they're not going to put their hand in it the same way. Like it's got to be you with your grip, with your pressure, with your amount of torque, or hopefully not too much torque. So that's a really big thing out there that I don't think people know enough about.
Yeah, the way it made me hold took out, I'm going to say 99% of my left and rights. And I'm saying left and right. I'm talking about from 9 o'clock to 3 o'clock on a 10 line. Mm-hmm. I shot yesterday 20 ends. I think I dropped 6 points out of the 60 shots. So was it 60? Yeah, there'd be 60 shots. I was keeping in count, trying to build up, and I left the 10 6 times. So to me, for an old man in the old man class, I can live with that all day long.
That's back to back 297s, man. That's no light stepping.
No, and my misses was directly 11 to 1 o'clock high, or at about 5 o'clock, 4 o'clock low. And that was just, that's pressures. That's what that was for me. I knew what it was when I did it. But yeah, that the hand positioning, what it allowed for me was pretty large. Yeah, I was glad to share it. Heck, anybody knows me at all, I talk about anything. If anybody has any questions about the craziness of how I set it up, I'll shoot a bow left-handed and upside down if it holds steady and I get to shoot it right. I don't
Yeah.
care. Everybody's individualized, and that's what matters.
I think that's been the biggest takeaway for indoor season for me is in years past, I want the bow set up and I just want to shoot it. And I want to tell myself that I'm just going to practice with this bow. Whereas this year, I'm kind of like, let's change the peep sight height. Let's change the draw length. Let's change the let off. Let's change the loop length and do everything except strap stabilizer weights onto it and try to hold it up. So trying to keep it a little bit lighter and fix things on the bow that'll make my form more repeatable, more forgiving. Hopefully something I can shoot under pressure if the situation ever arises. Not necessarily you want to plan for it if you can, but at the same time it's like, well, what are you going to do?
Yeah, I get it. I do get it.
It's kind of tricky. We started putting those negative degree grips on, and really changes how you can push into a bow and get it to break, and changes how it aims and everything else. So
you're not really pushing with the top part of your hand anymore. It's all right down in here. Yep. And you're not healing it. It's not necessarily that. It's
you can't heal it. It makes it if you have a grip that collapses and you heal your shots and blow them out the top, try a negative out, because I was pushing and my misses with the negative degree were 6 o'clock low, and somebody's like, give it a click, and it's like, no, I'm just pushing too hard. I need to learn to stay strong on the back end, and it really kind of forces you to reevaluate parts of your shot. Like I know I push so much on my front hand that I am leaning closer to the target the longer my shot goes, because I'm like 6 inches closer to the target with my face by the time the arrow goes. So now when I draw, I'll see me try to rock back and go, stay back here, good form, like not leaning back, but I'm just stopping myself from pushing forward, because your eyes fall, your body follows where your eyes go, and like you'll have that little left shoulder pain right up at the top from being out on your front foot trying to hold that bow up, and it's like, rock back, get your hips set, get your core engaged, and that bow's going to feel a lot less heavy under pressure.
My setup, the way I've got it right now, I've got it to where what I call it locks in. I can sit there and I go to full draw and I'm sitting there, and then all of a sudden it's like I just one little, and it locks this whole front. And I mean, it just sets. And then I can just sit there and I can execute the back end, and it'll just kind of sit there. And it doesn't have left, it doesn't have a right on, and I don't drop. I mean, I just like that form type of a shot. Is it literally locks in setting right there. So, and that's what's working for me right now. Yeah.
I think it's gonna be a good year for you. I know you got Lancaster. If you can get there, that's the biggest obstacle.
Yeah, the boy, that was it in the past. Was that last year? Last year we had that layover, and we're walking in. Let's see, what was that? 11:30 at night or something. Getting off the airplane because it was delayed like 6 or 7 hours, and oh man, there was just a handful of us caught in the airport that we just was like, you guys are killing us.
Got to hang out with Chris Hacker all day, didn't you?
Yeah, that's right. We sure did. And the scary thing is you're sitting there going, well, I hope my equipment makes it along with me. Yeah.
Well, Lancaster, you could almost go have a whole setup, pretty much, because I know Dave takes measurements on his bow for what it's supposed to be, and so he could probably find a holding weight, find a draw length, find a peep height pretty quick. Go send it.
I know I am meticulous about that, but I'm also anal enough to where it's not off the shelf. The way I do stuff is my method, my way, and so picking something up off the shelf is not exactly easy. I mean, yeah,
it's there's a method to the madness for sure.
So, well, back to Rushmore Rumble. What did you think? I mean, oh my gosh, that was nuts, dude. The quantity of shots, that was absolutely perfect shooting. And okay, let's throw a disclaimer out there. If no one's finished that and wants to go see it, click us off right now because we're fixing to talk about it.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
All right. Yeah, we're going.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, spoiler alert. As of this point forward, you've had your warning. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had my money between Matthias and Bodie and oh my gosh. Oh well, it was the one that was there at third, the young man, Sullivan.
I think Dane Johnson was third. I think Sawyer got fourth.
Sullivan got fourth. That's right. Yeah. But just watching him shoot, I was sitting there watching it, and those three were just nuts, solid. And after Sullivan went out, when we were watching, Dane was smooth. I mean, it was just like, two. I mean, that dude, he felt confident. Everything was right.
Yep.
Yeah. And this is the first time we've got to see what their new rigs are set up like. So it's kind of interesting following that and seeing how they're finding consistency. Yeah.
My biggest thing that I'm always looking for on the last 3 or 4 or 5 guys is, are they shooting a Hamsky drop away or a blade? And are they shooting a hinge or a button? And it got down to the end. I think it was 2 Hamskys, 2 blades. And it was Dane and I think Sawyer were shooting Hamskys. The other Bodie and Matthias were shooting blades, and they were also both shooting buttons as opposed to hinges. So buttons and blades was what took it at the Rushmore Rumble. That's always it's like, yeah, they might be shooting, but they're probably got a Hamsky on for 3D or something like that. I don't know. It just sometimes it works out that way, but I'm always like, what is, because I shoot a drop away with a hinge. It's been what I've run for the past couple years, and my dad and I were talking about it. He goes, those last guys shooting indoor are all running a blade at the end.
Yeah.
It's like, well, that might be, but I don't think any of them ever missed because of what rest it was. I don't think that is indicative, but it kind of does stick with you in the back of your mind when you're setting up an indoor bow or you're setting up this or that. Like, what are the guys that winning running?
Yeah, I love the blade I went to. I tell you what, I'm liking it. And did you also notice that both blades, one was shooting a 3 vein and one was shooting a 4 fletch?
Yep. Big time.
Yeah.
Didn't see any 6 fletches up there.
No, didn't see any 6s, but we sure seen a 4 fletch with a blade. And that was like, oh wow. That was interesting.
It's hard to pick apart the equipment when the guys holding the bows are executing that precisely. That, I mean, it's a game of precision.
There's no doubt, and it's enjoyable to watch because I guess it's just like anything. It gives you something to strive for. It's like, wow, that is impressive. Far more impressive than the way I used to shoot back when I was 20 years old. And it's just really, it's very impressive to sit and watch and to know how much time they're putting in to be at that level. And that is where they expect to be. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Especially Dane being from a 3D background. I always love when the 3D guys are up there shooting with the best of them. And it's like, we're not just foam. We're not just foam guys. We can shoot paper too. Looking at another Oklahoman. He might live in Missouri, but we're still gonna claim him. Lawson, absolutely on a tear. He was my money on odds to win the whole thing because I root for the kid every time I see him. But him and his buddy from Missouri, Aaron Shaw. I mean, I met Aaron at the first pro-am I went to. He was in my class, and then he's K50, and now he's up there with the pros 2 years later. So you see how many up and coming shooters in this pro class are going all the way to the finals. Ending up in the top 10, top 12, something like that. It's incredible. So you can get that good that quick.
Yep. I mean, and he's not new to the pro sports, but it's always great. Local guys and everything. We've got several local pros. The one I'm thinking of is Chris Hammond. He is always just right there. I mean, it's just going to be just a matter of something that's going to flip and click at a tournament. And instead of being third to 6, he's now going to be first to third. I mean, it's just going to be something. and I don't know what it would be. The quality that they're shooting is far more than I can capture right now. So it's you know what I'm saying. I don't know what to describe it, how to say it, but yeah, it's just
There's levels to this game, and we all manage our.
And they're far ahead of any level that I have been or will be.
Yep. I say there's levels to it, and you have to manage your expectations accordingly. Like the biggest thing for indoor with most people is they just don't want to miss. And I got my Facebook reminded me a year ago today we were shooting the OSAA. It was either the state championship or the sectional. I think it was sectionals because it was down at Arrowhead, and blanked one all the way off the target. It caught paper but didn't catch target. And Heath was back there glassing it. He goes, "It's inside out." And I go, "Caught?" And he goes, "Yeah, paper. It's inside out paper." And that's the worst thing to happen. But we all had a chuckle about it. So you got to go into it thinking that, I might not be the best, but I'm gonna be the best today. Today's gonna be my day. And you shoot every arrow, you shoot it for one at a time, and don't get in the habit of, like me personally, I'm shooting every arrow for all the other ones that I've missed in the past. Like, don't let it be this, I'm going to redeem myself and I'm going to make myself believe that I'm a good target archer and I can land them all in the middle just like the rest of them, 60 good arrows, because it's not going to happen. You're going to have 50 good ones, 5 questionable that catch and 5 questionable that don't. And that's, it's called an average. So, you don't have to step on the line thinking you're going to shoot 34 up and you're going to be the next Chris Hammond. It might not be your time yet. It might not be your day, but you got to go into it with that kind of mentality. There's a lot that goes into it.
There has to be that mentality, or what's pushing you to shoot. Yeah.
I want to see it's a challenge between myself to see if the bow will feel the same and I can shoot it the same.
Yeah.
Like we were down there shooting indoor yesterday. Took a clean game to the 59th arrow and had one. I don't know if it was in or out. Sly called it out. His brother called it in, and I didn't want to count it. But would have been for a 300. And I put 2 weak shots on the end of it because I got excited and I wanted to be done. I wanted the bow to go off. I wanted to don't push it out left, don't push it out the top, and it went low right. Both of them did right down there. So you got to see if you can execute the same shot when the bow doesn't feel good. Like listen to that shoot down yesterday, and Paige knows all these people. She shoots around them every day, and she's doing the commentary because they couldn't book the Oklahoma Archery podcast guys in time to get up there. But she's sitting there watching him shoot, and she's like, "Oh, he's going a little long," and it might be 2 or 3 seconds long, and Bodie's just both eyes big, and bang right there. Doesn't flinch, doesn't blink. He watches it go the whole time, and they're like, when I go long in my shot, nothing good happens. It gets to going, and I force it, and I just don't want to let down and tear the shoulder up over and over again. So I force them off. When I get in it, it's come on, baby, let's go right there. You can't have no in your heart. But these guys do it at the highest level. Not one of them had to let down. I mean, they had 30 seconds as opposed to 20 in World Archery. They had another 10 seconds for each arrow, and it's still not enough to let down and get another one off. So even though they were going long in the shot, and Paige is back here going, oh, a little long, and then boom, X every time. And you see mine don't land on the paper. Theirs don't leave the X ring. And we both had good shots and bad shots. It's just, do I expect my bad shots to go in the middle for an X? Well, sometimes they wind up there, but other times it just ain't your day, partner.
And that's what's impressive. I mean, the caliber of their shooting is what I hold my hat off to. It's just great. And that's what I say. I love studying their setups just to see what they've got working. Damn, that's interesting. That's neat. That's a cool way to do it. And I'll look back and go, well, I tried that. I couldn't make it work. It's really cool that they've got that adopted with something else that is now working for them. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they're using the same things that we all are. And people before there was back bars, they still shot 900s in Vegas with a 4-inch left hair on an overspined indoor arrow. So it's got to be the talent behind it. You can thank your sponsors. You can talk about how good your equipment did for you or how well it tuned and let you do how you set your bow up. But at the end of the day, you still got to pull it back and send it. So
that's right.
No, you don't get to blame the equipment when you have a bad day, but if you ever have a good day, you get to take the credit. So it's what makes archery emotionally crippling for many individuals, myself included. But at the end of the day, it's you against the other guy, and you both got stabilizers and scopes and clarifiers and electronic sights, and the epitome of technology in every way. And if you can't stand there and shake it in the middle and break a clean shot, there's not anything to say about it.
So what's new? What have you seen new out there?
I've seen those new stabilizers with the little wires and the little stack of weights coming off like people's back bar mounts. They're supposed to be coming out with a big page on the ATA. They just launched a page just like the A something. So it's a little tiny stack of stabilizer weights with like some wire thread run through there, and it holds it up like it's like defying gravity, like some kind of gyroscope thing. Like, so your back bar comes off this way and it's like over here, like off the front, and there's just like 3 or 4 ounces sticking up in the air. And when you shoot it, takes some kind of,
I haven't seen that one.
It's all over. It's been on Facebook for a few places. They're going to have a big reveal coming up for the ATA. So we're hoping that we have.
That's what I was going to say is, this weekend is the ATA show. Yep. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of new stuff released there that we would like to talk about, but we don't know about.
Yes, we'll have to do another episode as soon as we see some pictures and stuff coming out. But it's the latest Gizmos. I think it's a new size and release, or a new click adjustment, or a moon adjustment, or something that it's the same product that you've had. It just does what you want to do a little better or a little easier. That's kind of what I'm looking for.
And there'll be a ton of hunting stuff. There'll be 3D stuff. There'll be target archery stuff. There'll be a ton of different things released and things that can go back and forth. And the time that I was at that show, I couldn't get around because I had a booth, but it was really interesting just to see what other people was walking by talking about. And it make you go, I may go try and find that before the show opens tomorrow, just so I can walk past it and see it. Yeah,
that's the thing. They're just trying to sell you something that makes your archery experience easier. It's not a big, everybody's like, oh, that's a gimmick. Everybody always wants to say that's a gimmick. Well, if it works for you, placebo effect's been medically documented years and years and years before now. So, you can, if it does something on the line for you, like, oh, that clicks loud enough, I can't hear it. Like my True Ball HBC, it's got a real soft click in it. Nobody else can hear it. And it doesn't startle you as much as some of them. Click. Okay, now it's time to pull. Yeah. So, little stuff like that can make a difference. Like I say, it's got to be the guy holding the bow. So I'm not the person that's going to sell you something. If you need a different point weight, we're going to get you a different point weight. If you need a different spine arrow, we're going to get you a different spine arrow. Yeah. But beyond that, I want to fix your draw length. I want to figure out if you're ducking your head into your peep, or if you're get that peep sight around your eyeball. So it's stuff like that. I saw Hamsky had a new insight peep, so the circles are out and the square cases are in. And instead of giving you A, B, C, and D, they're going to give you A minus, A plus, and B, which is a lot more unless you're running like an 8 power. So everybody in the world has an extra C and a D lens.
Is that the one that has a little tool that comes with it?
You don't have to put your dirty, greasy fingers on that little tiny lens.
Yeah, I've had a couple of the Hamsky peeps, and I liked them. I enjoyed them. I just wanted to see what the other side of the world was, and I went with the Super Scope company peeps, and I've still got them too. But yeah, I don't know. My eyes are so bad being old, and I don't think it matters, but I do know that those are there. I didn't know if those were for just hunting.
I think there's a DC and an FC, and I think the hunting one came out first, and then they released their target line.
Oh, okay.
My buddy Tyler was telling me about it, and he was like, yeah. I was like, no, those are verifiers. They just can't call them verifiers because of specialty. I think they're meant for pins. He goes, well, this one is, and this one isn't. And I looked at there's different sizes on there. So one of the sets has bigger like hunting apertures and verifiers, and the other has smaller apertures and clarifiers. So okay. I think they do something different. I think they can't be called the same thing because of all the dirty, rotten attorneys out there in the world that want to sue everybody over this.
Everybody,
yeah, always a little sue happy out in the archery industry.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, we're looking forward to seeing all the stuff. I hope everybody has safe travels. I know we're getting ready to have some winter weather out there, so you don't want that to dampen the party. But it's the only time of year after Christmas that everybody's got money before we start shooting outdoors. So it's gotta be somewhere, and they just decided that indoor is right, perfect time for all of it.
Yep. Yeah, I know there's been ups and downs about the organization, the ATA organization, but it's still a happening thing. And those that are in it, it's almost, I'd say it's political as much as anything else. So for me and where I'm sitting at in the archery world, doesn't matter to me. I don't know if any of the local shops are going for this weekend. If they are, let's hope that they post on Facebook and tell everybody so that people don't drive to their shops and want to shoot and they're not there.
Yeah.
Because I know we've got 2, 3, 4 shop owners that do normally make the track out there to it. So I don't know if they are or not, but let's hope that they do educate or inform people. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I know our director out at the Archery Tech Center is going. Shout out to Brian Moorhead. I think he's I don't know if he's getting nominated for something or he's like the distinguished speaker, but he's done enough in the outdoor industry getting kids involved that I think they're gonna do something to honor him this year at that. So he was getting to go and had a small guest list. He was trying to make sure he got to take his friends and his family and anybody that wanted to go be there for that. So shout out to Brian. We know you're doing stuff here, and it's in Oklahoma, and it's good to see you get recognized on a national level. Somebody else is being recognized this weekend. I don't know if we told everybody about that or not, but I'll break the news and be the first one to congratulate Dave. He's going this weekend, traveling up north through the winter weather to be inducted into the National Barbecue Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Congrats, buddy.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you.
That is well deserved. If you've ever seen Dave work on a bow, he's meticulous. You should see what he does to a brisket. You should see. Yeah. I mean, you think the veins are glued on real clean. You should see the trim job around the aerodynamics of this brisket flowing in the smoker. It's right up there with Boeing as far as airflow goes.
They've asked me to say a few words when we accept and do all that stuff, and heck, I don't know what to say. I'll probably listen to the guys that go ahead of me. I think there's a small handful of us getting inducted, and I may just mimic what they say and say, well, I'm not going to take any time. I'll just get up here and say thanks and get off here. So, yeah.
Short and sweet's always good.
Yeah, and I've got family going, so it's going to be a lot of fun. We'll have a good trip. I got brother coming in from Texas, and him and his family's coming up. And my mom and Martin and my wife, we're all traveling up together. So it'll be a great fun trip. I'll miss some of the stuff this weekend going on.
Speaking of testing, that was your brother in Texas that made the stabilizer weight spacer program. So tell everybody about what that is. It's in small thread and big thread. They give you a 1 inch and 2 1/2-inch spacers that go in between the end of your stabilizer bar and the weights. So if you have a 12-inch back bar, you can put all 4 of those on there and feel what the weight distribution would be like on a 14-inch back bar. Or you can take them off a half and a hole again and scoot those weights in and out to see exactly what the best pivot point that your stabilizer length needs to be.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it does, is it changes the actual pivot point in your hand. So it's kind of a coaching tool, a teaching tool, but it also helps before you go spend a lot of money.
Yeah.
Let's be real. That's what it's about. And it takes, if I'm not mistaken, it was all 3 inches or 2 inches. I forget how much was in each one now, to even weigh 1 ounce. So it's not like it's a large thing that's going to change the balance point other than distance.
Yeah.
We did the small ones for the small threads for the what we'd call traditional recurve, and then the standard compound thread size. So
1/4 and 5 by 24,
15, 64. That one.
Yeah, 5 by it's 1/4 is the small one, and 5 by 24 is the other one.
Okay. Yeah.
It's big thread and little thread. There's only 2 sizes, and we got both of them. So.
Yeah, that's right.
It'll save you.
I pull them out and use them. Absolutely.
I got the small thread one for when I was running the Doinker weights, and I need to get one. I need to get a couple of them.
Yeah.
Tell them to holler at me. We got them available. They're handy, and it gives you a big long piece of all thread, so you won't.
Yeah, you got a 4-inch all thread with it. So 3-inch all thread, something like 4-inch, if I'm not mistaken. So and it's great, especially if you're younger and you're just trying to grow and you may be in between. And let's say you got a 24 and you can't quite do a 27. Well, here you go. Vice versa. If you're 27, you're trying to get to 30.
Yeah.
Man, I don't know if I can hold that much out there.
It's really everybody, you really need 2 sets, one for the front bar, one for the back bar. So you get 2 inches of play on either end. And you've got every width or every length stabilizer that you could possibly try without spending hundreds and hundreds of dollars on them.
Yeah, I agree. And it was great. I did have the past owner of Doinker reach out, talk to me about them. I was honored about that. I was like, wow, cool. Caught someone's attention.
Yeah, I was going to say. That's a handy tool. Save some people some money before going and buying something.
Yep. Yeah. So, well, 3D, man.
It's coming. It's coming. We're 25 days away from the season opener at Trosper. Kicking off the year this weekend, we're going to be in Tulsa with the guys from SHOT. They're putting on an indoor 3D that's scored ASA. It's all unknown 30-yard max, and they're going to have some paper targets thrown in there. So probably don't want a dot for it. It's going to be more 3D than paper. I think it's 11 3D and 9 paper targets. So you will probably want a pin as opposed to a dot in your scope. Like I say, if you're not good at yardage or your 3D bow's not together, bring your hunting bow. That's Friday and Saturday at the Cox Convention Center, Business Convention Center downtown. It's downtown Tulsa, not Oklahoma City. I guess I told somebody it was in Oklahoma City. And he was like, he said, in the city. He goes, is it in the city? I go, yeah, Tulsa's a city. It's in the city. And he goes, no, I thought you meant Oklahoma City. I was like, no, I'm definitely driving up for it. So we're going to have the live stream going and get to, hopefully get some, a little bit of shooter interviews. And we're also going to have right next to the shop booth, they got us secured a ASA booth. So we're going to have a bunch of, schedules to pass out, hopefully talk to a lot of people, answer questions on, what classes there are, what events, what it's like, how you do it, how you register, how you sign up and all that stuff. So, big community outreach. These are people that, enjoy the outdoors. So hopefully we can twist their arms. If they have a bow, come bring it. If you don't have a bow, well, let's get you one and let's get you into this. So I'm the most awkward person around a group of people I think that anyone's ever seen. So I'm dreading it already, having to talk to strangers that may or may not be. If you come up to me and you're like, hey, what arrows can I run? I got an answer for that. If you're like, hey, what's this all about? And I'm like, it's a journey of self-discovery is what archery is, and self-hatred is what it is. Undiagnosed mental illness that the only thing more expensive is drugs or gambling addiction, and it's going to ruin your life is what it's going to do. But you can't really pitch it to them that way because they're like, I thought it was fun. It's like, yeah, I remember archery being fun way back in the day when I was a little fella.
Yeah, I used to shoot that in 4-H. I hear that quite a little bit too.
Yeah. And we'll hope to see some people from 4-H or NASP, and they're like, I got a Genesis. What do I need next? And we're like, bring your Genesis. You can shoot it in the, the kids barebow class. If not, we'll find you a compound. There's something sitting around, no problem.
Yeah.
So we'll see. It's the first year, that we've got invited to it. Yeah, I think it's a pretty new startup thing, but you're going to get to bring your bow. You're going to get to be on the podcast. You're going to live stream. You're going to get to talk. And I told all the ASA people, I'm like, bring your belt buckles, bring your plaques, bring your bow, wear your shooter's jersey. We're going to have a couple targets set up to kind of explain to people what the upper and lower scoring looks like and say, yeah, it's basically this bear, but 40 yards down the hill in the shade over a creek. Okay, great. Yeah, shoot it over there and then go get your arrows. Yeah, easy.
Yeah, if you're sponsored by a shop, bring it out. Show everybody the shop shirts and let them understand that that side of the archery is a lot like tournament fishing.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you've got a handful of pros, but then, the majority of them out on the boats are paying their own way.
Mm-hmm. I know all the 918 area shops are in on it. I know Martin Tackles donated some stuff. I know Miles and Kelly at the Air Shop have done some stuff. I went and saw Ty at Ty Bows in Wagner after because you can't go to Wagner and see you shoot your bow and not stop by. He's got a great shop over there. He's got his brochures over there for the different events and the shot events this year. So it's just going to be good to promote and get people excited. I made a big long Facebook post about get people excited now, because they're just now dragging their deer stands out of the woods. Don't put the hunting bow up. Just switch out the broadheads and keep them behind the bow, because it takes a couple months to get set up to shoot. If you want to shoot tournament archery seriously and get a bow together for it, you need to start right now. It's hard to do in March, and then you figure it out through April, and by May you kind of know what you need, and by June you've ordered what you need, in July it's arrived, and it's like, well, I guess I'll shoot the state championship with my brand new bow, scope, stabilizers, released, rest, and arrows. Like, you don't want to be that person. Be ready in January. Be ready February 1st. And I think now is a good time to catch people getting out of the deer woods. It's like, oh, I've been stuck in a tree for 3 months. My back hurts. It's like, well, come out here and walk around. Get you stretched out.
Swing a few arrows. That's right. Yeah.
Stay sharp for turkey season. Turkey season's coming up. It's going to be here already. But yeah, I'm nervous about being around a lot of people, because if you just let me talk, I'll go for 45 minutes about every arrow at every tournament I've ever shot since I was a kid. And it's like, they got to realize I got to read people better. It's like, oh, they were just saying hi. They were just being polite. And you talk to them for 57 minutes and missed out on, X, Y, and Z. So I'm looking for people to help me deal with people and myself this weekend is what I'm trying.
A trade show's fun, and it's also very tiresome. Oh my. Yeah.
We've got good help. We've got some people from some shops that are going to come up. We've got a big group of people coming from the gun club, because I was like, that's where state championship's going to be for the ASA. If I tell them, hey, come out and see all my people at this place you've never been, you're kind of 50-50 on it. But I'm like, hey, this is Brad, this is Aaron and Mary, this is Range, then you get to meet those people, and you're like, I'll see you in July, and I'll see you before July at the qualifiers. So now you got, people that showing up to the qualify, and you're just investing in them. Like you're curating those relationships, because like people, like strangers will show up. We had a bunch of them this year that I'd meet at down at Oakland shooting indoor, and I was like, y'all like shoot 3D? I was like, yeah. I was like, come out to Trosper this weekend, or come out to Bartlesville this weekend, and they'll show up. Like they'll drive 2-3 hours and won't know anybody there, and I'm like, all right, you're in my group. We're gonna put you in with somebody fun. Let's see how we can stack the cards or something. That's like cool. That. Yeah.
And you say you can't talk to any strangers. Look at that.
Well, yeah, they're just like, who's this autistic kid that won't shut up? That's what they're thinking. And they're just like, does he work here? Can I get away from him?
Well, they won't know you're autistic until they see you shoot.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that's where the shakes come from, isn't it? Something like that. No, it's fun. And I like knowing that it's going to be at an outdoor show, because a lot of people will, hunt, fish. Yeah, well, come on over here. We'll give you something to do when the fishing weather's not good.
Yeah.
Kind of. Or when it's not indoor season.
Well, cool.
Something like that.
Well, also want to let folks know that we are planning on staying busy with the podcast. We've got a couple lining up. Not gonna throw it out there yet, but we got a couple lining up that will be interesting for everybody.
Yeah. Shout out to Bruce Cole. We tried to get him on before Rushmore Rumble, and it just ran out of time on him. That was my bad. I want to give him a huge shout out for putting that event together. I know he's got a full plate until Vegas, so y'all go easy on Bruce up there. He does a lot for archery with the NFAA. We're going to try to get him on to talk about it, see what we can do to make these pros miss. But circling back to the ATA, a couple of years ago, they wanted to do, and this is when I was going to go to it, they wanted to do a Vegas tournament at 30 yards or 25 yards. They were going to actually move them back.
The old style. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what would, to me, that's what would make it, to get the pros there, to get the contingencies there. I think that would be a fantastic, try. Yeah, let's shoot a Vegas game at 40 yards and see who can clean one. Like,
what I heard though, there wasn't enough people that could stay interested or would be interested in it that would shoot it, because the pros are working the booths. They're paying their salary for the rest of the year.
Yeah.
And people didn't want to drive that didn't have to be there to shoot that and turn around and go home, because it was just going to be a one-line thing. And they were like, look, we've got a weekend off, because, this time of year, it's one weekend after another for 3, 4, 5 weekends
Yeah.
of stuff. So they never did pull it off because that's what I heard. So I don't know.
Yeah. Gillingham was saying he's not going to be home 2 nights in the next 34 days. And
Wow.
they're not kidding. They live out of a suitcase on the road trying to make a living. So
That's right.
to be able to produce at the highest level and bring you people to veins, arrows, stabilizers, rests, it takes a lot of being away from your family and your loved ones. That's just part of the game. But if they weren't doing it, we wouldn't have nearly the hands-on tech training that you get from anything Tim touches. He's got a video about how it explains how and why to use it, how to tune it, why he did it that way. Like there's no detail unturned. Me, I'm simple. I slap weights on it. Okay, let's go. Let's run it. See if it works. And it takes me 6 weeks where somebody else is going to shoot 6 arrows and know that setup's not going to work for them. Like me, I'm like, let's give it the Rick Gilly 5 good days of shooting and then reevaluate and don't change nothing in the meantime. And then go back to how it was in 5 more days. Like I'm trying to break this down scientifically when simple fact is I shake when I shoot. That's all there is to it.
You got to find out what shake. You need a gimbal put up on your rest where it goes with you.
I'm going to get a gyroscope on the end of it. I'm going to see if I can have some kind of spinning and just see if it'll take the hold out.
That needs to be on your sight picture to where it's actually setting still and you don't realize it.
Yeah, that video that what's his name put out, was it Matthias when he had the camera on looking through his scope?
That was him.
That was pretty cool. Like that's a pretty still shot.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was.
I wonder how they lined that angle up. I bet that took a little while. But yeah, we appreciate all the pros out there that are competing at the highest level and then going back and doing R&D on new stuff and then trying to incorporate that into their game. It's like, there's pressure from the manufacturers that you got to shoot the newest and the greatest and this year's model, and then you're pumping out next year's model. It's like they don't get the chance to just set their bow up and run it how they want to. Like it's got to be a constant evolution of something. That's tricky. I fight with that all the time. If I could just shoot one bow, I might get a little better. But that's just part of it. Hard to do.
And then some of us are self-indulging and we just want to try something new. I mean,
Dave, you have a really bad habit of tearing a good bow apart.
I just feel like I'm the world's worst at that. There's no doubt about it.
But you have mental confidence knowing that you have tested it other ways, and that was the peep sight there was wrong. The draw length here was wrong. The weight coming off the bar here was wrong. And you tested it, and you know that whatever you settle on the day of is going to be right because I've tried it other ways.
It's up there in this cabinet behind me, but I've got a notebook pad full of notes of what worked. And I'm always going back to it. That's like yesterday shooting, I told you, since league on Thursday, I had put one twist in my string and that was actually to help straighten out my peep because I'd moved my peep. I had shortened my loop and I'd put that one twist in the string. Why? Well, I actually was taking it back to the way I had my original, or I say not my original, but last year's PSE citation set up. And I had started this one out that way, but it just didn't feel right. But I always shot with a short loop. I went to a long loop, changed it, and I truly thought it was pretty good, but it didn't work for me. So I went back to a short loop, had to lower my peep because of it. And that's where it's holding. And yesterday I shot very well. So I learned, I went back to what I had and I had to look those notes to figure it out. Yeah.
Yep. That's part of it. Really fine tuning a bow to draw length and loop length. Like you were watching me shoot my 35 and the draw length was perfect on my face, but I was back here and I couldn't get that. So we just shortened the loop up a little bit, felt altogether different. So
actually, I haven't asked you about that since I had mentioned that. Now, and I knew you did it. Do you feel that had helped?
Yes and no.
Okay.
I checked on my 37 and I don't know what my draw length is. I think it's 29 inches. I think you add 1 3/4 if you put it on your press and your draw board. I think that's the measurement. I'm not sure.
That is the right measurement. Yes.
Okay, then I'm a 29 because my 37s are at 27 and a quarter. My 35 is a quarter inch underneath that. And what I've been hearing is about 3 twists in or out of the cable. So they got those new cabling things or timing. About 3 twists out will give you 1/8 of an inch. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to see if backing off the poundage is just a little bit, because my arrow is just a little bit weak spined at a 350 with a $150 in the nose. So I've got some 130s from Smith Brothers coming, and I'm going to back the weight off of them to see exactly where those limb bolts need to go in and out. And then I'm going to take some twists. I'm going to get more draw length. I'm going to put some twists into it to get some more poundage, because that's exactly what I need.
I was saying, now, if you drop the tip weight and lower the poundage, you're keeping the same spine.
Yeah. So that's what I'm.
So you are going to change your spine, but you're going to do it with the weight of your bow.
Yes.
Okay.
And then I'm not shooting 71.5 pounds for 3D all year, because it's just it's going to be fast. It's going to be fast, and I'm going to have to get it under speed limit too. So I'm gonna drop 20 grains out of the nose, see what it looks like through paper, and then I'm gonna go find a 1/4 inch of draw length any way I can. So I'm gonna take the poundage down, remeasure the draw length, then I'm gonna squeeze it back down, get it to where I am, even if it's long, and then crank weight back onto it. So yeah, there's a method to the madness, but I'm gonna get it to where I run a tape on it from the back of my draw board right here. It's gonna be 27.25. I don't know what that makes my draw length, but that's what I like on the 37, and that's what's taken me a while to figure out, because you can change the draw stops on it and change your holding weight. It's 1/4 inch adjustments in the cam, so you can do everything in the world to it, and it just takes a little bit of time to actually sit down and find out what's right for me. How much holding weight do I like? How much D-loop weight?
Played with staging of the cams to basically changing the length of the cables and the string to stage the cams different to where. Okay, so you've played that. Okay.
Oh yeah, I've got the 37 twisted up to 36.5 to get some extra weight out of it, and you can feel them how they're touching this side close rather than far side close like this. So
that falls into the valley different. That's the reason I was asking.
There's no valley anymore. I'm running the number 2. Yeah, the George's shout out to George's Gizmos again. He's got the different draw stops for a medium and a soft. The factory are the hard walled ones. I'm running the medium number 2s, so it takes draw length out, it adds draw weight, and it gives me a little bit more of that cushion to pull into. So yeah, you saw me do it yesterday. I had one go and came back and about took my tooth out of my head. So yeah, there's very, very little valley on my 37 right now.
I'm the opposite. I like a valley because I do give directions on both ways, because I like to hold my chain tight. But I like a valley. But I don't shoot a lot of holding weight, so that's the big difference. Yeah.
Yep. I get that. It's a feel thing. On the 3D bow, I've got a 50 to 60 37 and a 60 to 70 37. I shortened the cam modules by another 1/4 inch and didn't do the draw stops. So I'm gonna be back at about 75% holding weight, whereas it'll feel the same as a 50 to 60 at 62 pounds, because I'm gonna run it at 68, something like that, 67, 68 to get my arrows to spine the right way, or I think to get the speed that I want them to be at. So it's a 1/4 inch shorter, but without the draw stops. So the measurement is exactly the same, and it's not twisted up. It's actually 37 inches axle to axle. So I'm not getting extra weight out of it, but the draw length matches. So we'll see how fast that thing spits them out and how I like the holding weight, because I want it to feel like the same grip, the same peep side height. It's just a heavier bow to get the 3D arrows gone a little faster. Yeah. So yeah, it's hard learning to do all this for the first time, but working on those Dartons has been like, I'm not scared to go yoke tune it. I'll do anything to it through paper. I'll play with the center shot. I'll play with the timing. And once you kind of get out of being, hand it to somebody else and let them do it. And Josh Jacobson somewhere making fun of me right now, because I called him the other day. I was like, hey, if I can't get these strings over, I might need you to come bail me out on this. He's like, you'll be fine. You'll get it. And I was like, I got him on there. I just wanted to see if you'd come help me or not. I was giving him hell. But yeah, once you kind of step outside that comfort zone and start changing stuff on your own, I mean, dude, Heath was giving me the 10th degree the other day at Trosper. We went on the 28th. He's like, "Are you ever going to shoot the same bow 2 days in a row?" I said, "Yeah, if it's right. I mean, just let me change my draw length out here, dropping screws in the dirt, and cram them back in there and strip the head out of them." Like, yeah, it was me in the trenches for 3 weeks, and every time somebody saw me, they're like, "Dude, why are you having a bad time? Like, this is the off season. Isn't this fun for you?" It's like, it's gonna be fun. It's fun that I can tell when my peep sight height is wrong. Like, I can tell something's not right. You just scooch it up, scooch it down, tie it back in, whatever. And I like knowing that it's better for what I do to it. And then I take it out and it shoots good. That is the best feeling. If it doesn't shoot good, I need to work on my mental game. So, there's always a next thing to do. Like right now, waiting on tip weight. And I just talked to Scott Hamlin. He's going to send me some 300 spine arrows because my 350s are a little weak at 70 pounds. He's like, "Well, let's try it. See if the bow likes a stiffer arrow, So there's stuff like that. That's like, okay, those are going to be here in a day or two. I'll fletch those up. And by next weekend, we'll be able to go give it another go. So sometimes it's go do it now. And sometimes it's, well, take a couple of days and think about it, work on your form, do a little blank bailing, go shoot indoor with Dave. I know. Now, I expect you to be at as many 3D shoots as I've shot days indoor with you this year. I mean, that's...
Oh, man. Hello. Bad connection here.
We're losing signal.
Yeah, exactly. Losing signal.
Oh, it's all good. We'll settle for the barbecue trailer instead.
There you go. I like the way you settle.
Man. But yeah, we're gonna get some big important guests on the next couple of episodes. I want y'all to tune in, be able to hear from some people that know about archery a little better than us. And like I say, I was talking to somebody new the other day. They're like, I don't know who it was. I think it was somebody up at Wagner. They're like, everybody you talk to has a different theory on why something works or doesn't work. And all you got to do is give it like we're trying negative degrees. I ordered a negative 2, 4, 6, and 8 that'll fit any of the Dartons out there. And I'm shooting a positive grip. Like you just got to feel good in the hand, and you have to take time to tinker and figure out what it is that works for you.
Oh, that's it. That's it in a nutshell. Everybody looks at my setup, they're going to look at it and scratch their head. And every now and then someone will turn around and ask, say, "Why do you do it like this?" Well, because the way I do, and it's just a long process to explain, but yeah, that's just the way it is.
Dave's changed his vanes to clear his riser, and his rest is not in center shot, and he's changing them for clearance. But the reason it's that far out is because it'll bear shaft tune that way. So he wants the bear shaft to hit. I don't care where the center shot is, left or right on the riser. All it's got to do is get the long 3 or 4 inch low profile vanes to clear the shoot through riser, because he likes to shoot through, but he wants the bear shaft to. Yeah, it looks weird, and there's a broom handle for a grip on it, but he's cranking out 297s on a Vegas face. That'll play in the old man division.
I'm hoping it'll plug in the old man division.
Yeah. Well, last time you shot the senior pro class was Rushmore Rumble 2 years ago.
2 years, well, whatever it was, we went.
It was 2 seasons, but 3 calendar years ago.
Yeah, because I had to go calendar. I screwed myself and didn't realize it.
Yeah, you wound up in the top 10 of the senior pro division, shooting indoor with all of them. So I don't think they got anything on you.
Well, that I didn't read the fine rules of the rest of the tournaments I wanted to go to. And that was the only senior division that was cut out of everybody else. So I shot it. Well, when we went to everybody else, they were all like, "Well, you shot pro, you have to shoot pro again or lay out a year." Really? Because they didn't even have an amateur. So yeah. All right. It'll be what it'll be. Well, I enjoyed it. I had fun.
Yeah. Yep, we've had some Okies up there. I know we mentioned Lawson being up there with the we're still going to call him in Oklahoma, and he lives in Oklahoma. I shipped his state belt buckle to an Oklahoma address, so that ought to count for everything. His plaque too. But we got to shout out Mackenzie Loudon. She was our state champion, I think. Eagle girls pins or your youth girls pins state champion. She wound up 3rd on the podium up there at the Rumble. So shout out to Mackenzie. I know they took a family trip up there, and they all went and shot and got to get pictures with Paige Pierce and all the other pros and everything. So that's what you want to see. Shout out to our Oklahomans going and traveling I think they got the highway closed on them outside Kansas City coming home last night. So I hope everybody made it in. But I want to shout out all all our Oklahoma people, all our listeners that, go into, that's what I tell people, don't spend money on new gear. Go to the biggest tournament you can. See what your gear and you will do on the line. Go to Vegas, go to Lancaster, go to the Rushmore Rumble. Because it's fun. You're going to learn something. I learned that I can't shoot archery very good.
And if the biggest thing you can do is go to the Southern Sectionals and the state championships, go do those.
Yep. I think all those dates should be on our master podcast calendar. So
if that is your biggest, let that be your biggest.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you're not ready, go to it anyways. I went to it last year just to try out my 3D bow. I found out it doesn't shoot very good either. So same person holding it, different bow this year. That's back when I was shooting the Hoyt, but it's usually the bow. It's usually the Indian, not the bow.
Yeah.
What we tell people.
Well, all right, buddy. Well, let's sign this off and let's go see what's out in the world going on that we missed.
I appreciate you, man. I'll see you soon.
Take care, y'all.
Bye, y'all.